Very good morning to all of you friends. I hope you guys are doing good. Now, in the last session, we started with material control, wherein we discussed what is material control. There were various methods we discussed relating to, the control techniques and all. I understand that I was not being able to cover the entire chapter in detail since limited time is allocated to the chapter. So anyways, guys, if we are left out with some time at the end of all the sessions, we'll try to cover that part, what is skipped and what was, fatafat se ho gaya. So I'll try to cover that part in detail if some time is allotted separately for the part what we have skipped. So guys, now let's take, welcome, very good morning to all of you guys. So guys, now let's start with another important chapter. Let's start with another important chapter, that is overheads. Now, very good morning to all of you. Mr. Shivam, if time permits, I'll try to resolve your doubt of material in this session only. But let's see at the end of the session, if we are left out with some time, we'll surely try to address your query. So now, let's start with this chapter overheads. Again, a very, very important chapter from examination point of view. In every attempt, you will see one question of overheads. So guys, do listen, pay attention to what I'm teaching. So let's start, guys. Now, why we are studying costing? Very simple, to calculate the cost of the product. Many manufacturing units use cost sheet, plus there are many other methods wherein the service industries use service costing. The people who are into construction business use contract costing, wherein our raw material passes through various processes. We use process costing. So the major purpose of costing, why we are studying costing, to calculate the cost of product. And apart from this, various cost control measures also we are going to study. Now, when talking about the cost of the product, the total cost, when talking about the total cost, we can classify the cost in two parts. Tanishka will surely try to cover that part in detail. Don't worry, Tanishka. So now let's start. So when talking about the total cost can be classified in two parts. That is direct cost and indirect cost. Now, what is direct cost and what is indirect cost? The cost that is directly attributable in manufacturing a product is direct cost. What is direct cost? The cost that is directly attributable in manufacturing a product is direct cost. When talking about indirect cost, this cost play a supporting role in manufacturing a product. They are not directly involved in manufacturing a product, but these costs play a supporting role in manufacturing a product. So the cost that play a supporting role in manufacturing a product is indirect cost. So direct cost, the cost that is directly attributable in manufacturing a product is direct cost. And when talking about indirect cost, the cost that play a supporting role in manufacturing a product is indirect cost. Now, direct cost covers direct material, direct labor, and direct expenses. When talking about indirect cost also, it covers indirect material, indirect labor, and indirect expenses. Now let me explain this concept with the help of few examples to understand that what is the difference between direct cost and indirect cost. When talking about material, let's say I'm the manufacturer of this shirt. Now what this shirt is made up of? Very simple, guys. Fabric, button, thread. So all these items are somewhere present in the final product. So that is what we call as direct material. When talking about indirect material, these shirts are stitched in machine, and for the smooth functioning of the machines, we use some sort of lubricating oil, grease. Is this grease, lubricating oil anywhere present in the final product? No. So that is what we call as indirect material. Let's take one more example. Let's say I'm the manufacturer of shoes, leather shoes. Now these leather shoes are made up of leather. So this leather is what we call as direct material, that is somewhere present in the final product and it has some significant value. Now to paste the shoes with the sole, to paste the leather with the sole, we use certain kind of glue. Now is this glue anywhere present in the final product? No. So that is what we call as indirect material. Apart from this, I have taken one more example in the last session. Let's say I am into bakery business and I do prepare cake. Now this cake is made up of whipped cream, sugar, various flavors and chocolate. All these ingredients are present in the final product and have some significant values. So all these are known as direct material. Now to maintain the safety and hygiene standards, my chef do wear disposable caps, disposable aprons and disposable hand gloves. Are these disposable anywhere present in the final product? No, nowhere. But yes, to maintain the hygiene standards, I do use these raw material. I do use these material. So all these is what? Indirect material. I hope this part is clear to all. These workers so that they can work without any trouble or problem. So the amount paid to the supervisor, are these supervisor anywhere manufacturing the product? No. But yes, they are the supporting staff. So amount paid to these supervisors as wages is covered under indirect labor. Let's say another example. Let's say in my factory, I have kept a housekeeping guy so that he can maintain the cleanliness of the entire factory. So the amount paid to that housekeeping guy is what? Indirect labor. Apart from this, let's say I have kept a gatekeeper at my factory. Is this gatekeeper anywhere directly involved in manufacturing my shirts? No, nowhere. But yes, again, since I'm paying him and he is a supporting staff, so the amount paid to him is what? Indirect labor. If you guys have any doubts, admin sir, the video is buffering or what? Guys, I request you to please refresh your page. There are no connectivity issues from our end. So I request you guys to please refresh your page. Now, when talking about direct and indirect expenses, let's say I do manufacture a special kind of mobile, wherein the mobile can work as a TV also, it can work as a projector also, and it's a special mobile wherein, we can say it has a waterproofing feature. Apart from this, it's an anti-gravity phone. अगर आप इसको कहीं फेंक देंगे तो वो हवा में रह जाएगा. God knows, क्योंकि down the line 15 years back किसी ने सोचा नहीं था कि कोई टच पैड वाला फोन आ जाएगा या स्मार्ट वॉचेज आ जाएगी जिसके अंदर हम लोग मोबाइल कनेक्ट कर लेंगे. So there is a special phone I do manufacture and I do derive technology support from a Japan-based company, and I do pay them certain sort of know-how fees. So the know-how fees is what I'm paying for every product is what? Direct expenses. When talking about indirect expenses, there is a long list, never-ending list. Postage, telegram, audit fees, salesman commission, all these are covered under indirect expenses. So I hope this part is clear to you all guys. That is, what is direct cost? The cost that is directly attributable in manufacturing a product is direct cost. When talking about indirect cost, the cost that play a supporting role in manufacturing a product, that is indirect cost. That is, it covers indirect material, indirect labor, and all the indirect expenses. Yes, Archie Gupta. So now, in this chapter, we are not going to discuss on this part, that is the direct cost, that is the direct material, direct labor, and direct expenses. We'll be focusing only on this part, that is the indirect cost. And this indirect cost, that is indirect material, indirect labor, and indirect expenses are known as what? Overheads. So इस चैप्टर में जो है हम लोगों को ये पार्ट डिस्कस नहीं करना है. We will be discussing only this part, that is indirect material, indirect labor, and indirect expenses. And this indirect labor, material, and expenses, indirect labor, indirect material, and indirect expenses are what we call them as overheads. So if you guys have any doubts in this part, that is what is overheads, you guys can please ask me. So very simple guys. Indirect expenses, indirect material, indirect labor, and indirect expenses are what we call as overheads. So these overheads are the supporting expenditure in manufacturing the product. Very good morning, guys. Thank you, dear. Same here, Anu. I request you guys to please copy this part, so it will be very helpful for you while preparing the exams. You guys can relate it. I mean, इसको आप relate भी कर पाएंगे when you are studying and when you are preparing for the exams. So I request you guys to please copy this part. Giving you 2 minutes, guys, to please copy this part. So guys, let's proceed further. So to sum up the things, those who have joined a bit late, that is, we are starting with a new chapter, that is overheads. 1 second, guys. We are starting with a new chapter, that is overheads, wherein we discuss that when talking about the total cost can be classified in two parts, that is direct cost and indirect cost. The cost that is directly attributable in manufacturing a product is direct cost. And when talking about indirect cost, the cost that play a supporting role in manufacturing a product is indirect cost. Direct cost covers direct material, direct labor, indirect expenses. Indirect cost also covers indirect material, indirect labor, and indirect expenses. In this chapter, we'll be focusing only on the indirect cost. That is what we call as overheads. Now, so erasing this part, since we are not at all concerned about the direct cost, these indirect costs are all known as overheads. Now, these overheads are also incurred at 3 stages. That is factory level, office and administration level, and selling and distribution level. It means what? Indirect material, indirect labor, and indirect expenses can be incurred at factory level also, office level also, and selling and distribution level also. So when talking about what is all covered in factory, office, or sales and distribution department, I'm just giving few illustrative example. It is not the complete list. No, Mr. Charanteja, I haven't taught employee cost. Yes, Anita, I understand some part was skipped in the material because of, since the time was, we were in short of time. So we'll surely try to cover your query. In the coming session, if we are left out with some time, or if some more time is allocated for the part what we have skipped in particular chapters, then we'll try to cover the part what we have skipped. So don't worry, guys. Nidhi will also try to address your query. Don't worry. So now, this indirect material, indirect labor, indirect expenses can be at the factory level also, office and administration level also, selling and distribution level also. When talking about factory level, it can be consumables, it can be supervisor salary. Again, these are it is just the illustrative list. It can be repairs on machinery, insurance of factory premise, depreciation on machinery, and a never-ending list. So whatever more that are related to factory, whatever the expenditures that are incurred at the factory level will be covered under factory overheads. When talking about office overheads and office and administration overheads, it covers postage and telegram. Apart from it, it covers audit fees also, salary paid to accountants or the people who are working in office. Apart from this, depreciation on office furniture, and a never-ending list. When talking about the indirect expenses that can be incurred at the sales and distribution level, it can be more related to advertisement. Apart from this, the carriage outward, that is the indirect expenses. If we are distributing any free samples, it is covered in indirect material. Salesman salary will be covered under indirect labor. And a never-ending list. So these are the few examples what all indirect expenses, or we call as overheads, can be incurred at the factory level, office level, and selling and distribution level. So if you guys have any doubts, you guys can please ask me. Guys, don't worry. Again, I'm repeating again and again. If some time is allotted, I'll be covering the last part of the material that is more related to treatment of waste, control, spoilage. And apart from this, the LIFO, FIFO, weighted average method, and simple average method. So don't worry, guys. My dear Harsh, again I'm repeating, don't worry, guys. I'll be covering this part also. So I repeat again, guys, as far as material is concerned, if one more session is allotted, I'll try to cover each and every part what we have skipped in detail. So don't worry. Right now I'm teaching overheads, so please try to focus on overheads, guys. So if you guys have any doubts in this part, you guys can please ask me. Waiting for your queries, guys. who want to copy can please copy. Just giving you a brief once again, when talking about overheads, whatever the indirect costs that are incurred are covered in overheads. These overheads, ये जो overheads हैं वो 3 stages पे cover होते हैं. That is at factory level, at office and administration level, and the selling and distribution level. These are the illustrative list of the exam. I mean, these are the illustrative list of the expenditure. What all is covered in factory, office, and selling and distribution level, guys. Don't worry, Rekha, I'll be covering overheads, each and every part in detail. Those who want to copy can please copy. Thank you so much, Tanishka. Neha, can you please repost your comment? What all doubts you have? I mean, if you have any doubts, you can please post it. As I've already discussed what is covered in overheads. Still for you, overheads are covered at 3 stages, that is office and administration level, factory level, and selling and distribution level. So at all these 3 levels, overheads can be incurred. It can be direct, indirect material, indirect labor, and indirect expenses, my dear. Great. So guys, when talking about what is overhead, we have already discussed. To sum up again for the students who have joined a bit late, that is, overheads is what? Indirect material, indirect labor, and indirect expenses is what we call as overheads. These overheads, what are overheads? The cost, the overhead, the expenses that play a supporting role in manufacturing a product are known as overheads. So guys, again, a very important chapter, that is what we are starting. We have started with, that is overheads. Now, before starting with the remaining part of the chapter, let's take a summary that what all we will be discussing in this chapter, that is overheads. The first part that we have already discussed is the meaning of overhead that we have already discussed. Apart from this, we will be discussing few more points relating to overheads. That is distribution and absorption of overhead. Apart from this, we'll be discussing meaning and treatment. Very important, the meaning and treatment of under and over absorption. Again, 2 terms, under and over absorption of overheads. A very important part of the chapter, so we'll be covering this part also in detail. Another thing what we'll be discussing is few questions relating to calculation of machine hour rate. The last few miscellaneous problems. So these all are the points what we'll be covering in this chapter right from start. That is the meaning, what we have already discussed. Thereafter, distribution and absorption of overheads. Thereafter, meaning and treatment of under or over absorption of overhead. Then we'll be discussing few questions relating to calculation of machine hour rate. and few miscellaneous problems. So these all are the points what we will be discussing one by one, wherein we have already discussed what is the meaning of overhead. So I suggest you guys to please copy this part. Yes, Rashmeet, I'll be teaching most of the chapters of the syllabus. Don't worry, my dear. Vijay, none of, I can't see any of your queries, guys. Vijay Gore, can you please repost your query? I'm not getting any queries from your end, my dear. No, Mr. Kohli, I haven't covered the employee cost in the previous batches, but mostly in the next batch, I'll be covering the employee cost also. So don't worry, my dear. Thank you so much, Matanjali. So guys, these all are the topics what we'll be covering one by one. So let's start with the second part of the chapter, that is distribution and absorption of overheads. I request you guys to please copy this part quickly. Meaning we have already discussed. So now let's start with the next part of the chapter, that is distribution and absorption. We'll be first discussing the distribution of overheads, and thereafter we'll be proceeding for what is absorption and why absorption. So let's start, guys, with the distribution of overheads. Now, guys, why distribution? The question is why distribution is required, why we need to charge these overhead to the cost. So let's take a situation. Vijay, I'll be covering this part in marginal costing, my dear. Thank you so much, guys. So now let's start with the distribution of overheads, guys. Now, why distribution? Let me take an example. I am into business. I am having a business. I'm into business of handicraft, wherein I do manufacture furnitures. When talking about furnitures, I do manufacture two types of furniture. The first one is wooden furniture, and the second one is aluminum based furniture. I repeat again, guys, I'm into business of handicraft based furniture, wherein I do manufacture two types of furniture, that is wooden furniture and aluminum based furniture. Now, while calculating the total cost of these two products, there are various elements, that is the material, wherein we do purchase separate material for wooden furniture and we do purchase separate material for aluminum based furniture. It's very easy for us to identify that this much material is purchased for wooden furniture and this much material is purchased for aluminum based furniture. हम लोग जो है दोनों का मटेरियल सेपरेट खरीदते. We know very well that how much material will be required for wooden furniture and how much material will be required for aluminum based furniture. Now, when talking about the labor force, the amount paid to the labor, very important, guys. I have a separate set of skilled workers who are manufacturing wooden furniture. They are specialized in manufacturing wooden furniture. So it means what? We can easily identify that how much wages are paying, how much wages we are paying to manufacture this wooden furniture. Whereas again, we have a separate team to manufacture aluminum furniture. So it's very easy for us to identify that how much labor we are paying for wooden furniture and how much labor we are paying for aluminum based furniture, because both these workers are skilled. One set of workers are skilled for manufacturing wooden furniture and the another set of labor are skilled in manufacturing aluminum based furniture. They can't work interchangeably. So it means what? As far as material is concerned, हमें पता रहता है कि हमारा वुडन फर्नीचर में क्या मटेरियल लगने वाला है और एल्युमिनियम बेस्ड फर्नीचर में क्या मटेरियल लगने वाला है. वुडन फर्नीचर में हमारा टीक वुड लगेगा और एल्युमिनियम बेस्ड फर्नीचर में हमारा एल्युमिनियम लगेगा. Now, when talking about direct expenses also, they are incurred separately for the wooden based furniture and aluminum based furniture. So my point is, we know very well in advance that how much material will be incurred for wooden furniture, aluminum furniture, similarly labor and expenses. So these costs are incurred separately. Separate cost will be incurred for wooden furniture, separate cost will be incurred for aluminum based furniture. So my point is, as far as direct expenses, direct cost is concerned, we do incur this separately. My point, is this the total cost? Is this direct material, direct labor and direct expenses the total cost? No guys, this is not the total cost. Why? What about the expenditures which are incurred as a whole? What about the indirect expenses which are incurred as a whole? Let's say I have taken a premise on rent. Now, I have taken only one single premise on rent. So how to charge these expenses to these products to calculate the cost? Again, I said, when talking about total cost, it covers direct cost as well as indirect cost. Indirect cost means what? Overheads. So, yes, we have the details, separate details for direct cost. But what about indirect cost? These indirect costs are incurred as a whole. So my point is how to charge these indirect costs to these two products separately. Very important. So in that case, we have to first distribute the indirect cost and then we'll be able to charge these costs to the product. If you guys have any doubts till now, you guys can please ask me. Just a second, guys. So guys, as far as material, labor and direct expenses is concerned, they are incurred separately for every product. So my point is this the total cost? No. What about indirect cost? What about the cost that is incurred as a whole? That is the overhead. To calculate the total cost of these two items, we have to charge these overheads to these products. When talking about charging these overheads to these products, we have to first distribute the cost and then only we'll be able to charge these costs to the cost of the product. So where herein we have to first what? Distribute the cost that is incurred as a whole to these two products. Let's say if I'm manufacturing only one type of furniture. I repeat again, let's say if I do manufacture only one type of furniture, it's very easy for us to charge these overheads to the cost of a product. But herein, we are manufacturing two types of furniture. So it means what? We have to first distribute the cost and then only we'll be able to charge these costs to the cost of the product. So what we have to do, we have to distribute. When talking about distribution of these costs, that is incurred as a whole. It can be distributed by way of allocation and apportionment. Now, what is allocation and what is apportionment, I'll be discussing. But my point is, for all this, all this exercise I have done, the major purpose is what? Why distribution is required, why we need to charge these overheads to the cost of product. If you guys have any doubts, you guys can please ask me. Well said, Tanishka. That is, it means what? Let's say I have taken an example that I have taken a premise on rent. Now, how to distribute? The first point is how to distribute the rent to the two production department, and then only we can charge the cost of that production department to the cost of product. Again, there is an example from Tanishka. Sir, we are keeping only one gatekeeper for the entire factory. So the amount paid to him is need to be charged to the cost of the product. When talking about charging to the cost of product, we have to first distribute the cost among two departments or two products. Yes, Mukta Vyas, all the indirect costs are known as overheads. So when talking about distribution, guys, it can be either allocated or apportioned. So let's take a situation and let's discuss what is allocation and what is apportionment of overheads. So as discussed, I do manufacture two types of furniture. Wood-based furniture and aluminum-based furniture. Now my point is how to distribute these overheads to calculate the total cost of the product. So when talking about distribution, it can be either allocation or it can be either apportionment. It can be either allocation or it can be either apportionment. Now what is the difference between allocation and what is the difference between apportionment? So let me discuss this with the help of an example. Don't worry, Sahil, I'll be discussing the illustration and I'll be solving them also, don't worry. Now, what is the difference between allocation and apportionment? Let me discuss this with the help of an example. Let's say there are few indirect costs that are incurred in my factory. Let's say I have paid supervisor salary. Total salary paid to them is, let's say, 50,000, wherein we are paying 10,000 to every supervisor, and there are total 5 supervisors, or in aggregate we are paying 50,000 as the supervisor salary. I repeat again, there are separate set of overheads that we are incurring in the company, wherein the first one is, let's say, supervisor salary, that is 50,000 we are paying to the supervisors who are supervising the work that is done by the labor workforce. Yes, Vijay, it is an example of overheads. Now, there are 5 supervisors who are working in my factory and I'm paying them 10,000 each. So total 50,000 is my indirect cost, indirect labor cost. We can say overheads of 50,000 in the name of supervisor salary. Now, very important, guys, it is given specifically that 3 supervisors are supervising the wooden furniture work and 2 supervisors are supervising the aluminum furniture work. Very important, it is clearly mentioned that boss 3 supervisor जो है हमारे वो हमारे wooden furniture के जो labor है उनको supervise कर रहे हैं, and 2 supervisors are supervising the work that is done by the workers of aluminum furniture department. Again, it's very easy for us now to distribute. Since 3 workers are supervising the wooden furniture department, it means what? 10,000 paid each into 3. So 30,000 we can distribute it to the wooden furniture department and 20,000 to the aluminum furniture department. That is 10,000 into 3. That is 3 supervisors are supervising the wooden furniture department. So 10,000 into 3, that is 30,000 will be distributed to the wooden furniture department, and 20,000, that is 10,000 into 2, will be distributed to the aluminum furniture department. So herein what it is given, it is specifically given in the question that this much overheads will belongs to the wooden furniture department and this much expenditures belongs to the aluminum furniture department. Let's take one more example. Let's say I have taken a premise on rent and the total rent paid is 2 lakh rupees. This is incurred as a whole. However, in this premise, there are 2 units which were taken on lease separately. I have taken a big premise on rent wherein there are 2 sections, and I have taken these 2 sections separately on hire. The section first, in section first, we are carrying the manufacturing activity of wooden furniture. In the section second, we are carrying the manufacturing activity of aluminum based furniture. The rent of section 1 is, let's say, 1,20,000, wherein the wooden furniture is manufactured. And let's say the rent in section second is, let's say, 80,000, wherein we are manufacturing the aluminum furniture. So again, it is very easy for us to distribute these costs. Why? Because these overheads are what? Separately incurred. Let's take one more example, guys. Let's say my power cost is 1 lakh in aggregate, wherein 2 meters are involved. One in this section and one in this section. The bill of this section is 60,000 and the bill of this section is 40,000. Again, these overheads are separately incurred. So in all these 3 situations, the overheads are separately incurred for every department. I repeat again. So guys, in all these 3 situations, the overheads are separately incurred for each department. So it's very easy for us to identify that bhai kis department mein kitna kharcha hua hai. So when the overheads are separately incurred for each department, they can be distributed directly, and that is what we call as allocation. So what is allocation? Very simple, guys. When the overheads are incurred separately for each department and they can be distributed directly, that is what we call as allocation. If you guys have any doubts in allocation, you guys can please ask me. Very simple, guys. I'm repeating again. When the overheads are incurred separately for each department, they can be distributed directly. That is what we call as allocation. If you guys have any doubts in allocation part, you guys can please ask me. Waiting for your queries. Mr. Charan, again I am repeating, it is specifically mentioned that 3 supervisors are working for this department and 2 supervisors are working for this department. So it's very easy for us to identify how much cost is incurred for every department. Further, in case of rent also, there are 2 premises taken separately. There are 2 premises जिसको हमने separately lease पे लिया है. The rent of premise 1 is 120, wherein the wooden furniture is manufactured, and the rent of the another premise is 80,000, wherein the aluminum based furniture is manufactured. As far as again power is concerned, there are 2 separate meters. The meter first belongs to the wooden furniture. So whatever the cost of power that belongs to unit 1 will be allocated to wooden furniture. So what is allocation? Very simple, guys. When the overheads are separately incurred and can be distributed directly, we call it as allocation. Now, as far as allocation part is concerned, we have discussed. Now, when talking about apportionment, let's take a different scenario wherein the supervisor salary is 50,000. That is, we have appointed 5 supervisors, and these supervisors are supervising the work of wooden department as well as the aluminum furniture department. I repeat again, let's say I have appointed 5 supervisors and I'm paying them 50,000. These supervisors sometimes supervises the wooden furniture department and sometimes supervises the aluminum furniture department. They are not specifically appointed for a particular department. Now the question is how to distribute the cost. Another example, let's say I have taken only 1 premise on hire. There are no 2 separate sections, no 2 separate lease agreement. Now the point is how to distribute the rent among these two. Further, let's say only 1 meter, 1 power meter is installed. Only 1 power meter is installed. Now the point is how to distribute the bill among these two departments. So in all these cases, we have to distribute the overheads by apportionment. So herein, when talking about apportionment, why apportionment? When apportionment is required? When the overheads are not incurred separately. They are incurred as a whole. So we need to apportion them in a certain ratio. Now, when talking about ratio, we have to first identify the base, and on the basis of that base, we will be apportioning the overheads. So, when talking about, those who want to copy this part can please copy. Those who want to copy this part, please copy for your reference. So guys, you can relate the same while preparing for the exams. Those who want to copy this part can please copy. I'll be discussing few points relating to apportionment. So I repeat again, guys, when talking about allocation, when the overheads are separately incurred for every department, they can be directly distributed. That is allocation. But when talking about apportionment, when the overheads are incurred as a whole, they are not separately incurred, then we need to apportion. And when talking about apportionment, we have to first identify the basis of apportionment. Identify the basis of apportionment. And then apportion the overheads in the proportion of the base. So that is what the difference between apportionment and allocation. Let's take an example. Let's say I manufacture two types of furniture, that is wooden furniture and aluminum based furniture. Now let's say following are the expenditures. Please copy this part. I'll be explaining apportionment. So I'll be needing more space. So those who want to copy the explanation can please copy. Very good. Good morning, Pooja. That's what I have said, Charan, that in case of power, if 2 meters are separately installed for every premise, and in one premise only one type of furniture is manufactured, it's very easy for us to distribute the cost. But what if in case only one power meter is installed? So in case if only one power meter is installed, we can't allocate the overheads. We have to apportion. And for apportionment, we have to identify the base, and on the basis of that base, we will be apportioning the overheads. Those who want to copy this part can please copy. I'll be discussing, just like I have discussed examples on allocation, I'll be discussing example on apportionment also, so that you guys can understand the difference. What is the difference between allocation and apportionment, guys? So please copy this part. So let's take a situation wherein I do manufacture two types of furniture. Now let's say following are the overheads that are incurred in my premise. That is, let's say rent of rupees 1 lakh, the power cost of rupees 2 lakh, the supervisor cost was rupees, let's say 60,000. Now the point is these expenditures are incurred as a whole. There is no direct basis of distribution. Then what to do? How to apportion these overheads? So as I said that we need to identify the base. We need to identify the base. So herein few additional information is given in the question as regards for wooden furniture and for aluminum based furniture. Some additional information is given in the question, that is the number of workers. Let's say total 40 workers are working in wooden furniture department, and let's say 20 workers are working in aluminum furniture department. Apart from this, the horsepower is given. Horsepower is given, that is 100 and 100 equal. Apart from this, the area is given, that is 600 square feet area and 400 square feet. Again, there are no separate meters installed. Again, there are no separate two premises for every manufacturing activity. Apart from this, there are no separate supervisor who are dedicatedly supervising a particular department. They are incurred as a whole. So herein we can't allocate. We have to apportion, and for apportionment we have to identify the basis of apportionment. So now, when talking about rent, we are paying a rent of 1 lakh and there is only one premise. Further information is given in the question as regards the number of workers and horsepower and the area. Now let's start, guys. When talking about rent, is there anything to do with the number of workers? No, it is not at all relevant when talking about rent. Is anything more or less related to horsepower? Again, it is irrelevant. But when talking about the area, yes, 600 square feet area is used in manufacturing wooden furniture and 400 square feet area is used in manufacturing aluminum based furniture. So we can say rent is more or less related to what? Area. So herein we can say the basis of distribution of rent can be what? Area. It is the most suitable basis of apportionment and the only basis of apportionment as per the information that is given in the question. So herein we can distribute this rent of 1 lakh in the ratio of area, that is 600 square feet is to 400 square feet, that is 3:2. It means we can distribute rent in the ratio of area, that is in the ratio of 3:2, that is 60,000 and 40,000. I repeat again, we have not taken separate premises for wooden and aluminum based furniture. We have taken only one premise, a huge premise, wherein 600 square feet area we are using for wooden furniture and 400 square feet area we are using for aluminum based furniture. So we can say the rent is more or less related to what? Area. So this rent can be distributed in the ratio of area. When talking about power, when talking about the power cost of 2 lakh, क्या नंबर ऑफ वर्कर से पावर कॉस्ट का कुछ लेना देना है क्या? नॉट एट ऑल रिलेवेंट. क्या एरिया से कुछ पावर कॉस्ट का लेना देना है क्या? नॉट एट ऑल रिलेवेंट. बट यस, सिंस हॉर्स पावर इज गिवन, दैट इज 100 and 100, इट इज मोर और लेस. जो पावर बिल जनरेट होगा वो किस बेसिस पे होगा? डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द हॉर्स पावर कंज्यूम्ड और हॉर्स पावर ऑफ द मशीनरी. So herein it is given 100 and 100. It means what? These power cost is to be distributed in the ratio of horsepower. And herein the ratio is 1:1. So this power cost will be distributed in the ratio of horsepower because it is the most relevant data that is given in the question. So horsepower. And the ratio will be 1:1. So that will be 1 lakh and 1 lakh. When talking about the supervisor cost, these supervisor people, what they do? They do supervises the number of people who are working. So we can say these supervisor costs can be distributed in the ratio of what? The number of workers who are working in the wooden furniture department and the number of workers who are working in the aluminum based furniture department. So herein the supervisor cost will be distributed in the ratio of numbers of workers, and that is 2:1, that is 40:20, that is 2:1. So we can say 40,000 and 20,000. So very important, guys. Herein, first, what we have done, since the expenditures are incurred as a whole, they cannot be directly distributed. In that case, we have to first identify the basis of distribution, and in that ratio, we have to distribute the overheads. So that is what we call as apportionment. So I hope, guys, आपको डिफरेंस समझ में आया होगा कि अलोकेशन क्या होता है और अपॉर्शनमेंट क्या होता है. वेरी सिंपल. व्हेन द ओवरहेड्स आर सेपरेटली इंकर्ड and they can be directly distributed, this is called allocation. But when the overheads are incurred as a whole, they cannot be directly distributed. In that case, we have to first identify the base, and on the basis of that base, we have to distribute the overheads. So if you guys have any doubts, you guys can please ask me. Waiting for your queries. Those who want to copy this example can please copy. Mr. Joshi, sir, how can we identify the basis of apportionment? Guys, you have to use some sort of common sense to identify the basis of apportionment. So I repeat again, guys, when talking about distribution, it can be either allocation or it can be either apportionment. When talking about allocation, when overheads are distributed directly, can be distributed directly. This is what we call as allocation. When talking about apportionment, first we have to identify the basis and then distribute overheads in the proportionate. And then distribute overheads in a proportion. So I hope distribution part is all clear to all of you guys. Mr. Charan Teja, when the overheads can be directly distributed, it is allocation. But when the overheads cannot be directly distributed, they are incurred as a whole, then first we have to identify the basis of apportionment. And on that basis, we have to distribute the overheads in a proportion. Thank you so much, Siddharth. Yes, Tanishka, very true. So we can say somewhat, there are few examples I'll be taking for your reference. For your reference, I'm taking few examples. Let's say the rent can be distributed in the ratio of area. When talking about indirect wages, it can be distributed in the ratio of direct wages. When talking about depreciation, it can be distributed in the ratio of value of assets. When talking about electricity, very important, if the number of light points are given for every department, then in the ratio of number of light points. But if light points are not given, then in the ratio of area. But first priority will be given to light points, number of light points, and the second priority will be given to the area. That's what I'm just helping you out with, Vijay Gore. So apart from this, we can see the power cost in the basis of horsepower. Apart from this, we can say supervision cost as discussed on the basis of number of workers. Maintenance cost it can be distributed. The most appropriate basis of distribution of maintenance cost is what? It is more or less dependent upon the number of machine hours what we are working. Because ज़्यादा machine hours अगर हमने ज़्यादा machine चला है तो ज़्यादा maintenance का cost आएगा. अगर machine जो है comparatively कम चला है तो कम maintenance cost आएगा. So if maintenance cost is given, it will be more or less related to the number of machine hours. So it will be distributed accordingly. Anything else you guys can please post. I'll explain the things. I mean, I'll explain or I'll try to resolve your query. If you guys have any doubts relating to any overheads, you guys can please ask me. Pooja, it's not the theory what we are discussing, it's the concept we are discussing. So this costing is more or less dependent upon concepts. So if you are thorough with the concept, you can solve any of the question, my dear. I hope, Charan Teja, your doubt is resolved. That is the difference between allocation and apportionment. Those who want to copy this part can please copy, else we will start solving the problems now. Well said, Ankita Yadav. See, Ankita has mentioned specifically that it is all given in the study material at page number 4.15. Perquisites is more or less related to salary pays to the workers. So accordingly, it will be distributed in the ratio of the salary paid. When talking about Akash Neel, the basis of distribution of depreciation, it will be distributed in the ratio of value of assets. Time keeping expenses will be distributed in the ratio of number of workers. When talking about maintenance, Ankit Gupta, maintenance is more or less related to the number of hours the machine is functioning. So it will be distributed in the ratio of machine hours. Nidhi, if the costs are separately incurred, it is allocation of cost. But when the costs are incurred as a whole and there is no information is given as regards that how much it is for a particular department, we have to identify the base, and on the basis of that base, we do distribute the overheads in a particular proportion. It's about Pooja PS, not Pooja birthday. Arvind AS, sir, how to identify if more than one base seems relevant to a particular overhead? Now, Arvind, to be very frank, before writing the exams, आप बहुत सारी practice करते हैं. And I think study material is more than sufficient. अगर आप study material के सारे question practice करेंगे तो आपको एक idea आ जाएगा कि which is the most relevant base. So the most relevant base is to be used as should be taken as the base for apportionment of a particular overhead. ESI, PF, okay, Provident Fund and ESI, then again it will be distributed in the ratio of direct wages. Levy, Matthew, I'll be discussing this part also. It will be given in this question only about the details about the light point. That is how much points we have. I mean, light point, it means how many switches are there in a particular department. Pooja PS perquisite, meaning the additional benefit facility provided by the employer to the employees perquisite. Let's say car facilities provided, medical facilities provided, transportation facilities provided. Apart from this, we can say traveling, touring and accommodation facilities provided. Even food, beverages and snacks are provided by the employer to employee. All these what we call as perquisites. Yes, somehow, somewhere, if you practice few questions, you will be able to identify the base. Levy, Matthew, 3:2 kahan se aaya? I will be discussing. Don't worry, my dear. So, guys, let's proceed further. We are done with the first part of the chapter, that is distribution. So, we will be discussing one question relating to distribution, guys. 1 second. I have shared a question on the screen. Admin sir, please आप उसको जो question है उसको आप maximum ratio दीजिए. Admin sir, are you there? Miss Preet Panchal, don't worry. As far as the chapters I am covering, I'll try my level best to cover the theory part also. So don't worry, Preeti. So guys, now there is a question that is a factory has 3 production department, that is P1, P2 and P3. And 2 service department, that is S1 and S2. So there is a company wherein there are 3 production department, that is P1, P2 and P3, and 2 service department, that is S1 and S2. There are following overheads, or we call as indirect costs, that are incurred, and the details are given as follows. That is rent, repairs, depreciation, lighting, supervision, fire insurance for stock, ESI contribution rupees 900, power cost 5,400. Harsh, when talking about perquisites, it can be in monetary terms, it can be in non-monetary terms, my dear. Perquisites can be monetary and non-monetary. So now let's focus on the question. So herein the expenditures are given, and now no information is given in the question that this much overheads are separately incurred for a particular department. So it means what? These overheads are incurred as a whole. So now what we have to do? We have to distribute the overheads. When talking about distribution, allocation is not possible because no overheads are incurred directly for a particular department. It means what? We have to apportion these overheads. And for apportionment, we have to identify a basis of apportionment. So let's start, guys. Sir, put the question on Zoom. One second, sir. Yes. So now, yes, हो गया बराबर है. Now, guys, since these overheads are not incurred separately for a particular department, so we have to apportion these overheads. So in apportionment, we have to identify the base. So let's start, guys. Again, some information is given in the question as regards area, the number of workers, the wages paid, the value of plant, the stock value, and the horsepower of the plant. So we have to allocate or apportion the overheads among various departments on suitable basis. So let's start with rent. Very important, guys. Rent is more or less related to what? Area. It means this rent of 6,000 will be distributed in the ratio of area. Very important. This rent will be distributed in the ratio of area. Now the next part, that is repairs, that is 3,600. Now very important. Is repair more or less related to area? No. Is repairs related to number of workers? Not at all. Is repairs related more or less to wages? Nothing to do with wages. But yes, repairs is conducted. Repairs हम लोग किसका करवाते हैं? Plant and machinery का करवाते हैं. And since no information is given as regards the machine hours, so the repairs cost will be distributed in the ratio of value of plant. As far as depreciation is concerned, very simple. It will be, since the depreciation is charged on a plant, so it will be distributed in the ratio of value of plant. When talking about lighting, see guys, no information is given as regards the light points, so it will be distributed in the ratio of area that we have already discussed. Supervision, as I have already discussed, it will be distributed in the ratio of number of workers. Fire insurance for stock. We do insurance of stock. And when talking about the value of expenditure, I mean, when talking about the amount of premium, it is dependent upon the value of stock. So the fire insurance for stock will be apportioned in the ratio of stock value. ESI contribution, as I've already discussed, will be distributed in the ratio of wages. And the power cost will be distributed in the ratio of horsepower. Now, guys, very well said, Akash Neel. Very well said, Ankit Gupta. Very good, Priyanka. So, guys, I request you guys to please take the screenshot of the question and try to solve on your own right now. I'm giving you guys a 10 minutes break because even I do need a break. So, let's take a 10 minutes break. I request you guys to please take the screenshot of the question. Giving you 30 seconds, guys. Please take the screenshot of the question, guys. Very good, Priyanka. I request you guys to please take the screenshot of the question. I'm giving you guys a 10 minutes break. So in the meanwhile, in this break is not for you guys, it's for me. So try to solve the question and I'm waiting for the final answers from your end of this question. So let's take a break. I hope you guys have taken the screenshot. So Edwin sir, let's take a break of 10 minutes. We'll be back after 10 minutes. Welcome back, guys, after a much needed break. Before the break, I gave you a question. आपको एक question दिया गया था, wherein you have to distribute the overheads. So I hope आप लोगों ने solve किया होगा. That is, the following were the overheads that are incurred. That is rent 6,000, repairs 3,600. Depreciation 2,700. Lighting 600. Supervision 9,000. Fire insurance for stock and that is rupees 3,000. ESI contribution is there. And that is 900. Last is power, that is 5,400. I have got answers from many. That is, Aniket Srivastav has answered. 1 second. I have got answers from Aniket Srivastav. I think, Aniket, your answers are correct. I have got answers from Feba, Biju, Thomas. Yes, Feba, your answers are correct. Very good. I have got answers from Shuvanesh also. Most of the answers, yes, they are correct. Tanishka Agarwal, rent 2,000, 1,500, 1,350, 750, 400. Very good, Tanishka, your answer is correct. Nipun Gupta, very good, your answer is correct. Neha Gupta, very good. आपने काफी efforts लिए type करने के लिए. So, very good. Everything in detail. Very good, Neha Gupta. Tanishka, answers are correct. Joshi, Suyog, yes, your answers are correct. Soumya Gupta, very good. Your answers are correct. Ankit Gupta, your answers are correct. Now, guys, for the students who are finding it difficult to, difficult कि भाई distribution, difficulty कि भाई distribution कैसे करना है? So I'll be distributing 2-3 items. Rest all items you guys distribute it on your own. So herein I'm writing the basis of absorption also, wherein the rent will be distributed in the ratio of area. The repairs will be distributed in the ratio of value of plant. These repairs and depreciation both will be distributed in the ratio of value of plant. When talking about lighting, as discussed, there are no light points that are given. So it will be distributed in the ratio of area. Then supervision cost will be distributed in the ratio of number of workers. The next is fire insurance for stock will be distributed in the ratio of stock value. ESI, as I told you, it will not be distributed in the ratio of number of workers. It is more or less dependent upon wages. So this will be distributed in the ratio of wages. When talking about power, last but not least, the horsepower, it will be distributed in the ratio of horsepower. When talking about the rent part, it is given in the question, that is the area in square feet is 400, 300, 270, 150 and 80. So we can distribute it, सबका zero आप cancel कर देंगे. So we can distribute in the ratio of 40:30:27:15:8. So rent will be distributed in the ratio of 40:30 is to 27 is to 15 is to 8. So P1, so the total will be how much? That is 40 plus 30 plus 27 plus 15 plus 8. This is 120. So rent for the students who are finding it difficult to distribute the cost, for them the P1, this will be the total rent is 6,000 and the total of all these items is 120. So divided by 120 into 60. For P2, this will be 6,000 divided by 120 into 30. For P3, this will be 6,000 divided by 120 into 27. For S1 and S2, this will be 6,000 divided by 120 into 15. And for S2, 6,000 multiplied by 8 divided by 120. So this is how we will be getting the answers. This is 40, I think, sorry. So 6,000 into 40 divided by 120. So this will be 2,000. I've got our answers also. That is 2,000. The second one is 30 divided by 120. So into 30 divided by 120. This will be 1,500. Next is 6,000 divided by 120 into 27. This will be 1,350. $6,000 divided by 120 into 15. This is 750. So wherein you will put 750. Then 6,000 divided by 120 into 8. This will be 400. So this is how the costs are distributed. Most of the students were able to answer the question correctly. So I don't think further explanation is needed. Yes, Imanshu, I'll be discussing this part now. There was one query from Mr. Levy Matthew. Sir, how to find this base 3:2? So herein, if a particular or else no need to calculate 3:2 since the area is given, that is 400, 300, 270, 150, 80. You can distribute it in this ratio also. If the number of, let's say, value of plant is given, that is 72,000, 54,000, 48,000 and 6,000. So no need to simplify it. You can simply distribute in the ratio of 72 is to 54 is to 48 is to 6. Alternatively, you can divide it by 6. So the best part is just simply remove the zeros and you have to distribute in the appropriate ratio. Anyways, I've got the final answers from many of the students. The total overheads of P1 will be 11,350. For P2, it will be 8,505. For P3, it will be 6,825. For S1, this will be 2,910. And for S2, it is 1,610. I've got the answers from many of you guys. Aniket, Feba, Biju, and all, everyone. So guys, very good. Yes, Mr. Sahil Walia, yes, you have to read the book. Okay, Himanshu Mishra sir, please explain fire insurance. See, fire insurance will be distributed in the ratio of value of stock. The stock value is 45,000 is to 27,000 is to 18. So we have to distribute the value of fire insurance, that is 3,000, in the ratio of 45 is to 27 is to 18. This insurance of stock will be 45 is to 27 is to 18. So you have to distribute it among P1, P2 and P3. No, not required. No need to show the calculation in the working note. This is for the students who are finding it difficult to distribute the overheads. So just for their reference, I have written this part. No need to mention these working. So this should be the solution of the question. That's it. That is the particulars, the total, the basis of apportionment, P1, P2, P3, S1 and S2. The total overheads. That's it. So this is the way you have to present the solution, guys. Yes, the books are there for reading. अगर institute आपको कोई material provide कर रहा है साहिल, so the purpose is that you should read it. If you read the study material thoroughly, it covers each and every concept in detail. So with my lecture, you can refer the study material. It's more than sufficient for the exams. But yes, you have to practice few more additional questions of past examination or old RTPs or old mock test papers. This much is more than sufficient. So guys, done with this question now. Those who want to copy the presentation can please copy. Else we'll proceed further with the next part of the chapter. Now guys, we are done with allocation and apportionment of overheads. Now, let's take a situation wherein I have a company wherein there are 3 production departments, that is P1, P2 and P3, and 2 service department, that is S1 and S2. I repeat again guys, we are done with the part of allocation and apportionment of overheads. Now let's proceed further and let's take a situation wherein, thank you so much Preeti. Arey mere bhai Sahil, you have to read the book. You have to read each and every page of your study material. So now, I have 3 production department and 2 service department. Now, these production department do manufacture certain units. मगर service department में कोई भी units manufacture नहीं होता है. My point is, I repeat again, these service departments are not anywhere involved in manufacturing activity. ये जो service department है, इसमें कोई भी unit manufacture नहीं होता है. तो my point is, ये जो सारी प्रोडक्शन एक्टिविटी होती है वो सब कहां पे होती है? प्रोडक्शन डिपार्टमेंट में. तो my point is, since the overheads are distributed to the production department, so they will be charged to the product. But my point is, what about the overheads of the service department? Since service departments are not manufacturing any product, so my point is, what about the overheads of the service department? And second thing is कि भाई चलो overheads की बात तो बाद में आती है. Why this service department? ये सर्विस डिपार्टमेंट बनाए ही क्यों? When no units are manufactured in service department, तो सर्विस डिपार्टमेंट की जरूरत क्या होती है? Now let me explain you guys. I have three production department, P1, P2, P3. Now I have few service department also. The first department, service department, is my, let's say, HR department. Every company do maintain this HR department. Now what HR department will do? They will assist the production department. On a particular day, 10 लोगों ने एक साथ resign कर दिया. Now how we will get the manpower? How the company will get the manpower? With the help of HR department. So this service department, why they are created? To provide services to the production department. They are actually, every company do manage or maintain these service department. What these service department do? These service department provide various services. They assist the production department. Let's say I have a company wherein there are 3 production department and I have 1 service department, that is HR department. Now on a particular day 10 लोगों ने resign कर लिया. अगर मेरे पास HR department नहीं होगा तो I will be in big trouble. But since I have created an HR department, what HR department will do? They will immediately recruit the people. HR department का काम क्या होता है? To recruit the people. So immediately 10 लोगों ने resign किया, for a 1 month notice, these HR department will recruit new people, skilled people, so that they can be immediately posted to the production department. Let's say I've created one more service department, let's say maintenance department. On a particular day, मेरा प्रोडक्शन डिपार्टमेंट 2 का मशीन ब्रेकडाउन हो गया. मेरा प्रोडक्शन डिपार्टमेंट 2 का मशीन ब्रेकडाउन हो गया. अगर मेरा मेंटेनेंस डिपार्टमेंट नहीं होता तो माय वर्कर्स वुड हैव बीन सिटिंग आइडल. कुछ भी प्रोडक्शन नहीं होता. My active production will be interrupted. So in that case, herein the maintenance department comes into the picture. The need of the maintenance department comes into the picture. So जैसे ही production department में breakdown हुआ, maintenance department team will come into the picture and they will immediately fix up the problem. Let's say another department, housekeeping service department, to maintain the cleanliness in the company, to maintain the cleanliness in the factory and office, we have to keep the housekeeping department. So my point is, service department में कोई भी units manufacture नहीं होता. They are just to provide services to the production department. Now, since these service departments are providing services to the production department, and since these service departments are not manufacturing any unit, तो भाई करना क्या है? The overheads of service department is to be distributed again to the production department. I repeat again, since these service departments are not manufacturing any unit, they are simply providing various services to the production department. तो होगा क्या? Very simple. Whatever the overheads that are allocated or apportioned to the service department will be reapportioned to the production department. So very important, the thumb rule, the last line, the conclusive line, that the overheads of the service department are to be reapportioned to the production department since no units are manufactured in the service department. So I hope you guys are clear why service department, why we are reapportioning the overheads of service department to the production department. Now, whatever the overheads that are allocated or apportioned to the service department is to be reapportioned to the production department. Reapportionment of overheads of service department to production department. Why we are doing so, I have already explained. Now, why we are doing so, we have already explained. Now, there are various situations which are possible. काफी situations हो सकती है. Now, what all situations are possible? द फर्स्ट सिचुएशन इसकी भाई जो भी सर्विस डिपार्टमेंट है वो सिर्फ प्रोडक्शन डिपार्टमेंट को सर्विस प्रोवाइड करते हैं, दूसरे सर्विस डिपार्टमेंट को प्रोवाइड ही नहीं करते. सो द फर्स्ट पॉइंट इज सर्विस डिपार्टमेंट provide services to the production department only. So the first situation is the service department provides services only to the production department. तो भाई जो भी service department के overheads है on a reasonable basis distributed to the production department. Now the next situation what is possible is कि सर्विस डिपार्टमेंट जो है अपनी सर्विसेज प्रोडक्शन डिपार्टमेंट को भी प्रोवाइड करता है और दूसरे सर्विस डिपार्टमेंट को भी प्रोवाइड करता है. सो सर्विस डिपार्टमेंट प्रोवाइड सर्विसेज टू प्रोडक्शन डिपार्टमेंट as well as service department. The service department provides services to the production department as well as other service department. So सर्विस डिपार्टमेंट अगर सिर्फ प्रोडक्शन डिपार्टमेंट को सर्विसेज प्रोवाइड करता है, one situation. Second situation, service department provides services to the production department as well as the other service department. Further, in that case also there are two situations which are possible. The first one is non-reciprocal and the second one is reciprocal. Edwin sir, are you there? Edwin sir? Edwin sir, can you put the session on hold for 2 minutes? Yeah, 2 minutes sir. Just guys, 2 minutes break please. Okay, I'm offline now. Hello students, sorry for the technical break. There were some connectivity issues. So it is fixed up now. So guys, let's proceed further. We were discussing why the overheads of service department are to be reapportioned to the production department. As far as why, we have already discussed when talking about what all situations are possible. So wherein the first situation can be service department provides services only to the production department. The other situation can be the service department provides services to the production department as well as the other service department also. When talking about this situation, again, two situations are possible. First one is non-reciprocal and second one is reciprocal. Now, what is non-reciprocal and what is reciprocal? I repeat again, when service department provides services to the production department as well as the other service department, herein two situations are possible. Now, what all situations are possible? Non-reciprocal and reciprocal. When talking about reciprocal, let's say I have two service departments, X and Y. X is providing services to all the production department and it is providing services to Y also. Y is providing services to the production department and it is providing services to X also. It means both the departments are providing services to each other. I repeat it again, if there are two service departments and they are providing services, both of these service departments are providing services to each other, herein the reciprocal method comes into the picture. This is what we call as reciprocal approach. Herein we can redistribute the overheads in three ways. That is simultaneous equation method, second one we can use is repetitive distribution method, and the third method we can use is trial and error method. In simple terms, if the service department provides services to each other, X is providing to Y, Y is providing to X, we call it as reciprocal approach, wherein we can redistribute the overheads of the service department to the production department in three ways. The first one is simultaneous equation method, the second one is repetitive distribution method, and the third one is trial and error method. Mind it guys, in all these three methods, the answer will be the same. When talking about non-reciprocal approach, guys, very important. Let's say I have two departments, X and Y. X is providing services to the production department as well as Y. I repeat again, I have two service department and three production department. The service department are X and Y. Now, very important, X is providing services to the production department and service department Y, wherein Y in return is providing services only to the production department. So in short, what is the difference between reciprocal and non-reciprocal? When talking about non-reciprocal, service department दोनों एक दूसरे को सर्विस प्रोवाइड नहीं करते, मगर हाँ एक पर्टिकुलर सर्विस डिपार्टमेंट दूसरे को प्रोवाइड करता है, मगर दूसरा जो है वापस पहले को प्रोवाइड नहीं करता है. If they are providing it to each other, reciprocal. If they are not providing to each other, a particular department is providing, service department is providing services to the production department and the other service department. However, the other service department is not providing services to the X department. In short, it is providing services only to the production department. So we call it as non-reciprocal. In this, we will be using step ladder method. Step ladder method. So I request you guys to please copy this part. Thereafter, we'll be discussing each and every method one by one. I request you guys to please copy this part. Herein we'll be using direct redistribution method. Now guys, let's start with the first method wherein the service department provides services only to the production department. So redistribution of overhead wherein service departments provide services only to production department. I'll be discussing this concept with the help of an example that is there in the study material. So I request you guys to please आप अपना study material खोल लीजिए या apart from this if you are not having the study material physical the hard copy, then I request you guys to please download the material from BOS portal. I'll be discussing illustration number 1. I'll be discussing few more questions. So I request you guys to please open the study material. I'll be discussing illustration number 1, page number 4.17. I repeat again, guys, please open your study material. Or those who are not having hard copy can download the study material from ICAI BOS portal. I'm discussing few questions of study material. So I'll be starting with illustration number 1 of the study material. That is page number 4.17. I'll be discussing Vijay Gore also the non-reciprocal method. Don't worry. So let's start with direct redistribution method. Illustration number 1 of the study material of overheads chapter. Excel Limited has 3 production department and 4 service department. XL Limited has 3 production department and 4 service department. The expenses for these department as per the primary distribution are as follows. Okay. So they have done with the allocation and apportionment of overheads. That's what we call as primary distribution, wherein the overheads that are distributed to department A, B and C and the service department, that is stores, timekeeping and accounts, power and canteens, are given below. The following information is also available in respect of the production department, that is horsepower of machine, that is 300, 300 and 200. The number of workers is given. Value of stores requisition is given. Prepare a statement apportioning the cost of the service department over the production department using direct redistribution method. Herein they are clearly saying that you have to distribute the overheads of the service department to the production department. Now herein there are 4 service department, that is stores department, timekeeping and accounts, power and canteen. Now herein no percentage is given that how much percentage of services are provided by the service department to the production department, but however they have given the basis of distribution. So when talking about the store service department, the overheads of the store service department will be distributed to the production department in the ratio of value of stores requisition. When talking about timekeeping and accounts, it is more or less related to the number of workers. So this overheads of timekeeping and account service department will be distributed to the production department in the ratio of number of workers. When talking about power, the power cost will be distributed in the ratio of horsepower of machine. And when talking about canteen, there is a canteen. In every company, they do maintain a cafeteria. That is a service department. It will be distributed to the production department depending upon the number of workers who are working in the production department. So guys, let's start. There are 3 production departments, that is department A. I'm discussing illustration number 1 of study material. That is A, B, and C. Now, there are three service departments: stores, timekeeping, accounts, power, and canteen. So we'll prepare a separate column for basis and particulars. We can make one more column also, that is total, and then particulars. So the first department is stores. The total cost of the stores is 4 lakh. It will be distributed in the ratio of value of stores acquisition. Sorry. We'll first write the overheads as per the primary distribution. Overheads as per primary distribution. That is overheads that are already distributed to the production department, that is 30 lakh, 26 lakh, and 24 lakh. So total overheads that were distributed to the production department were 80 lakh. Now we will be redistributing the overheads of service department to the production department. So we are starting with the first point, that is stores. The total overheads of the stores are 4 lakh. Herein it is given that stores are distributed on the basis of values of stores requisition. So the total stores acquisition are 2,50,000, 25:15:10. So this 4 lakh will be distributed in the ratio of 25:15:10. So 4 lakh divided by 50 into 25, that is 2 lakh. One lakh 20,000 and 80,000. The next department is timekeeping and accounts. So the total cost of timekeeping, the total overheads that are distributed to the timekeeping and accounts is 3 lakh, and it is more or less related to number of workers. So it will be distributed in the ratio of number of workers, and that is 20:15:15. One lakh 20,000, 90,000, and 90,000. The next service department is power. The total cost of the power is 1,60,000. 1,60,000, it will be distributed in the ratio of horsepower. And the horsepower of the machine is given, that is 3:3:2. The ratio is given 300:300:200. So we will distribute in the ratio of 3:3:2. So 1,60,000 divided by 8 into 3, that is 60,000, 60,000, and 40,000. The next is canteen. So much depends upon the number of workers. So it will be distributed in the ratio of number of workers, and the cost is 1 lakh. that is 20:15:15. This will be 40,000, 30,000 and 30,000. Herein we will get the total overheads, that is 30 lakh as per the primary distribution plus 2 lakh plus 1,20,000 plus 60, 40, 1 lakh. So this will be 34,20,000. This will be 28 lakh. $26,40,000. So this is the first method, guys, wherein the overheads of the service department are distributed only to the production department, since they are not providing services to each other. They are providing services only to the production department. So this is all what about this question. This is the way you have to present the solution. The solution is there in the similar solution is there in the study material. So those who want to take the screenshot can please take, as we'll proceed further with the next part. That is, what if in case the service department provides services to the production department as well as the service department. So giving you a minute time. Very good, Mantanjali. I'll be discussing illustration number 3 also today. Prema, Joy, Clara, I'll be discussing illustration number 3 also today. Don't worry. So now let's start with the second method, that is non-reciprocal method. Now, what is non-reciprocal method? Preeti Panchal, thank you so much, guys. Even I skipped, there was some miscalculation. Anyways, I have rectified it. It's 29 lakh, guys, in the second department, that is production department B. Preeti Panchal, sir, why we are calculating canteen services on the basis of number of workers? Yeah, canteen services are offered to the workers who are working in the factory. So the overheads of the canteen department will be distributed on depending upon the number of workers only. That's why we are distributing the overheads of the canteen department in the ratio of number of workers. Now let's start with the non-reciprocal method, wherein a particular service department provides services to the other department, but that other service department is not providing back services to that service department. Let's take an example wherein there are 3 production departments A, B and C and 2 service department X and Y. Now, when talking about X and Y, X is providing services to A also, B also, C also and Y also. I repeat again, let's take a situation wherein I have 3 production departments, that is A, B and C, and 2 service departments, that is X and Y. So X is providing services to A, B and C and Y. But when talking about Y, Y is providing services to A, B and C only. not to X, and anyways Y is anyways closed. So herein the service department are not providing services to each other. Now in that case, how to reapportion the overhead? Very simple, guys. Which service department provides services to the maximum number of department will be distributed first. So herein in this case, we will distribute the overheads of department X first. That is, X will be distributed to A, B, C and Y. Once the total overheads of Y we have, we will distribute the overheads of Y to A, B and C. So in short, in non-reciprocal method, first of all, we have to identify the sequence of distribution. Which service department overheads are to be distributed first. So when talking about this point, वो सर्विस डिपार्टमेंट जो दूसरे सर्विस डिपार्टमेंट को सबसे ज्यादा सर्विस प्रोवाइड कर रहा है will be distributed first and thereafter second and third. So let's discuss this method with the help of an example that is there in the study material. Thereafter we'll give you a few more situations wherein I'll be asking a question that which should be distributed, what should be the order or sequence of distribution. So guys, let's start with the illustration number 2 of the study material. Hi Pooja, welcome back. We'll surely be discussing the machine hour rate. I do remember that the part was skipped and you were asking for this part, that is calculation of machine hour rate. So don't worry Pooja, I'll be covering this part also in this session because one more session is there. In fact, 2 more sessions are there for overheads. So I'll be covering this part also. Don't worry Pooja. So guys, now thank you so much Himanshu. Thank you so much, Preeti. So guys, let's start with illustration number 2 of the study material. The page number is 4.19. Now it is given that suppose the expenses of 2 production department A and B and 2 service department are as under. It means what? That these guys have provided the data after primary distribution. Just like in the illustration 1, wherein also they have done the primary distribution, we are going for the secondary distribution. That is, we have to do only reapportionment of overhead. So herein there are 2 production department, that is, we have to write statement showing reapportionment of overheads, wherein we have 2 production department, that is A and B, and service department, that is X and Y. Overheads as per primary distribution we have that is for department A and B it is 3 lakh and 3,20,000. And for X and Y it is 2 lakh and 1,50,000. This is the data we have after primary distribution. Primary distribution means what? Allocation and apportionment. Now we have to reapportion the overheads of the service department to the production department. Now see, it is given in the question that department I'll be talking to you, Pooja, after solving this question. So now, herein there are 2 service department, that is department X and Y. Now see guys, X is providing services to A, B and Y, wherein Y is providing services only to A and B. So which department is providing services to the maximum department? X. So X will be distributed first and then Y. So herein X department is providing services to A, B and Y. So X will be distributed first. So it is given that A will be getting the percentage of service provided to A is 40%. So reapportionment of department X to A, B and Y in the ratio of 40 is to 35 is to 25. 40 is to 35 is to 25. So the total overheads are 2 lakh. So this will be 80,000. This will be 70,000. And since 2 lakhs are already apportioned, so this will be 0. This will be deducted. And to the service department Y, it is 25%. So this will be 50,000. So the total overheads of service department, that is 2 lakh, are distributed among A, B and Y. That is 80 plus 70, 150 plus 50, that is 2 lakh. Now we will distribute the overheads of department Y. That is reapportionment of department Y overheads to A and B only. Since Y is providing services only to A and B in the ratio of 40 is to 60. So 40 is to 60. So the total overheads of department Y, now we have 150 plus 50, that is this. I repeat again, now the total overheads of department Y will be 1,50,000 plus 50,000. In aggregate, how much? 2 lakh. So this 2 lakh will be distributed among A and B in the ratio of 6. In the ratio of 40 is to 60. So this will be 8. So 80,000 and 1,20,000. So herein now we have the total final. This is 0. This is 0. So 3 lakh plus 160, that is 4,60,000. $320 plus 70, $390. That is 5,10,000. So I hope this part is clear to all. If you guys have any doubts in non-reciprocal method, you guys can please ask me. Waiting for your queries, guys. I request Sushil Kumar to please, I request you, Sushil, to please refresh your internet connection. Thank you so much, Himanshu Mehta, Mishra. I do remember you, Pooja, because you actually corrected your name because your name is reflecting Gajjar Naveen Chandra. So you only told me that, sir, it's Pooja Gajjar. Anyways, so nice to see you. I mean, very good to see you, Pooja. Yes, Pooja, I'll be discussing the calculation of machine hour rate in the next session. I'm really very happy to see you, my dear. This is 1,50,000 as given, and this is 50,000 as distributed. So in aggregate, the total of 2 lakh will be distributed among A and B. Mr. Sahu. So guys, those who want to take the screenshot of this presentation can please take. Mr. Raghavan, sir, can you please explain the service department? See, Raghavan, there are two service department, X and Y. X is the service department which is providing services to the maximum number of departments. That is, it is providing to A, B and Y, all three. Whereas Y is providing services to A and B only. So first of all, we have to identify the sequence of distribution. And this method is also known as step ladder method. The reason being is, this is the ladder. So now erasing this part, guys. Now let's take a situation wherein you guys have to tell me what should be the order of distribution. Let's say I have three production department, that is A, B and C. And three service department, that is X, Y and Z. Now when talking about distribution, X, Y and Z overheads are distributed to A, B and C, A, B and C, A, B and C. But when talking about distribution to other department, let's say Z is providing services only to the production department, Y is providing services to X and Z, Y is providing services to X and Z, and Z is providing services only to Y. One second, guys. So guys, this is the question. Now, wherein there are three departments, that is X, Y and Z. X is providing services only to the production department. Y is providing services to X and Z, whereas Z is providing services only to X. Now you guys have to tell me that what should be the order of distribution. सबसे पहले हम लोग किसके ओवरहेड्स डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करेंगे? X के करेंगे, Y के करेंगे या Z के करेंगे? Waiting for your answers, guys. I repeat again, there are three service departments wherein X is not providing services to any of the service department. However, Y is providing services to X and Z is providing services only to X. So you guys have to tell me what is the correct order of distribution of X, Y and Z. कौन से सर्विस डिपार्टमेंट के ओवरहेड्स पहले डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करेंगे? You guys please tell me. I'm waiting for your answers. I've got answers from Survesh S. Akash Neem, your answer is correct. Ramakrishna, correct answers. Sorry, Akash Neil, your answer is incorrect. Ramakrishna, answer is correct. Mantanjanali, correct answer. Still waiting for your answers, guys. Yes, Akash Neil, your answer is correct now. Neha Gupta, correct answer. Himanshri, correct answers. Correct answer. Soumya Gupta, correct answers. Manish Goyal, incorrect answer. Hitesh Jain, incorrect answer. Vikas Bansal, correct answer. But I just want the complete answer, Vikas. Yes, Vijay, your approach is correct. Very good, Rekha. Very good, Himanshri. Very good, Ankur Singh Patel. Himanshu Mishra, your answer is incorrect, my dear. See, which department is providing services to the maximum number of departments? Very simple. Y is providing services to X and Z. So Y will be distributed first. Once Y is distributed, then let's see who is providing the next most services to the other department. Very simple, Z. Z is not providing to Y, but he is providing to X. So Z will be distributed at the second level. And when talking about X, he is not providing, that X department is not providing any services to any of the service department. It is providing services only to the production department. So X will be distributed at last. Most of the answers were correct. Y, Z, and then X. Most of you guys were able to answer. Very good, guys. So this is all what about non-reciprocal method and the direct redistribution method. We are done with the session now. The time is running. I wish I could extend the session, but many of you guys have to go for articleship. So concluding this session, thank you so much, guys, for your time and patience. And apart from this, thank you so much for participating in the session and answering my questions. So that's really great of you guys. So we'll be back in the next session with another part of the chapter that is relating to repetitive distribution method, simultaneous equation method, thereafter absorption of overhead, under or over absorption of overhead, and specifically calculation of machine hour rate and few more miscellaneous questions. There are 2 more sessions for overheads. So we'll be doing each and every question in detail. So don't worry, guys. We have sufficient time to study this chapter. I assure you, kuch bhi skip nahi hoga. Everything will be covered in detail, guys. So thank you very much. Take care, guys. God bless you. See you guys in the next session. Thank you so much. Sir, I'm done with the session.